Hey guys, this video is for the word problem for completing the square. So I'm going to do this word problem on our notes. It says you are planning a flower garden consisting of 3 square plots surrounded by a foot of a border. The total area of the garden and the border is 100 feet to the second power. What is the side length? Alright, so this is actually the lesson wherein A is not going to be equal to 1. So the first 3 videos that you've watched, guys, all of the A's, so I have the notes here. If you look at it, all of the A's are going to be 1. So the question would be, well, what if it's not 1? So this is the kind of problem, obviously it's a word problem, that will take that level 3 of completing the square to a level 5, wherein A is not going to be 1 or it's going to be higher than 1. So there's only one step. It will make it a little bit more difficult, but work with me here and I'll walk you through it step by step, okay? So first things first, get a sheet of paper out here. Okay, I hope you have the problem out on the side. So what do I know about this? Completing the square. So first things first, this is an area problem. So area is equal to, well, length times width, right? Okay, so they said the area is 100, so I can replace that area with 100 right away. And then I have length times width. So let's look at the picture right now. If you notice on the picture, there's an XXX here. So there's 3 kinds of flowers and the borders are a foot around. All right, so if we say this is the length, how many kinds of flowers do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, so 3 X's. So I can write the length as 3 X's plus there's 2 borders on the 2 sides. Okay? Now the width will be the same. I have an X here and I have an X here and 1. So that's going to be X, only 1X because there's only one side of the flower here and then the 2 borders. So plus 2. All right. Well, this makes sense to me because I know this is a binomial times a binomial. I can FOIL it out. So 3 times 3x times x, that's going to be 3x to the second power. 3x times 2, that's going to be 6x. 2 times x, 2x, 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, what do we know about this? I can combine like terms. So that's going to be 3x to the second power plus 8x plus 4. I just simplified, okay? And then it's over. It's equal to 100. Okay, so that's shaping up. What we do know from our notes, so if I'm kind of like just looking and flipping through the notes, I know I need to leave this blank, as we kind of like call it, because this is where our C, or our completing the square, is going to be, right? So I'm going to get that 4 and I'm going to move it to the other side. Whatever I do on one side will also do to the other side. So 100 minus 4, I'm going to get 96 on this side. 3x the second power plus 8x, and that's gone. All right, so now isn't this where we're going to put our C? Okay, now back to the lesson on the first 3 videos. What did we learn? We know that we could solve for that C by using our B, right? The formula is B over 2, or divided by 2 to the second power. Okay, easy enough because we did it here. So when we're looking at something that we've solved, this you could have done in your head because it was 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And then 2 times 2, or squaring it, is 4. Okay, now the only hard part about this is this one. That will work right away if the A is a 1. Well, this one is not a 1. So this is the extra step that we're going to do if A is not equal to 1. We are actually going to make it a 1. And how can we make a 3 a 1? There's only one way. We divide it by itself, right? But in an equation, whatever you do on one side, you have to do to everything else to balance it out. So again, let me repeat that. If the A is not a 1, you divide it by itself. All right, so 96 divided by 3. So this becomes a 32. 3 divided by 3, that cancels out. So I have x to the second power. There's our A, that's a 1 now. That's easy. Okay, so here's where the problem lies. It becomes an 8 over 3. It's an proper fractions, so I can't just, it doesn't go into it perfectly. So for right now, I'm just gonna keep, sorry, that's a plus, the 8/3x as my b. All right, so now back to this rule. Well, the b, remember guys, the b is the one that's attached to an x. So the b is 8/3. So let's write it down. 8/3 divided by 2, and the whole thing is to the second power. Okay, and don't anybody roll your eyes right now or groaning or whatever it is. We can do this. All right, so what does this mean? Isn't this just 8 divided by 3 or 8/3 divided by 2? So this is division. So it's a fraction divided by, guess what? I could change this to a fraction too. Okay, is there such a thing as a division of fractions? What we do is we do our KFC rule, right? So no such thing as division. Keep the first fraction, flip the division to a multiplication, and change it to its inverse. So it becomes 1/2. Okay. Now we have a rule for this. Multiplication of fraction just means multiply across. 8 times 1 is 8. 3 times 2 is 6. Okay? So that's going to be 8/6. I know I can simplify 8/6, simplest form, remember guys, into 4/3. And this is what I'm going to square. So 4 times 4, sorry, can't see that, is 16, and 3 times 3 is 9. Here's my C, as we call it. All right, so remember that 16/9. I'm going to slide over here. All right. So that means I'm going to add 16/9 on this side, right? But whatever I do on that side, I got to do to the other side. So I'm going to add 16 plus 9, 16 plus 9. All right, don't freak out. We've done it on the other videos as well. It just so happens, remember again, it was a whole number. This time we're dealing with fractions. All right, so one side at a time. 16/9 plus 32 on this side. It's addition of fractions. I cannot add them because 32 is 32/1. I can only add them if the denominators are the same. So I'm going to multiply this side with 9. So 32 times 9, I get 288/9, and then this stays 16/9. Okay, 288 plus 16. I get 304. 304/9. All right, so for right now on that side, 304 divided by 9. Why am I dividing it by 9? Because I'm switching it to a decimal. So 33.78. 33.78 because it's 777. Okay, so let's stop right here. Now on this side, remember this side is the one that becomes a perfect square, right? Perfect square. So this is going to be written as x, right? Plus 16/9. Well, that I could, that's a perfect square, and then there's going to be, this is 2. This is the perfect square, so I write it as 2. Okay, going back on our notes, where did we do that? When you're looking at their notes, we were doing it this way. Okay, all right, so far so good. I want only 1, right? I only want 1. So what have we done so far? The one that we were practicing before, I want to get rid of that second power, right? So we square this side. Well, whatever I do on that side, I also need to do to this other side, right? So if I square this, this comes out by itself, right? Okay, and then I square this, I just press this button. So I'm left with 5.81. Okay, remember, so this becomes 5.81, but since it's a square root, I have 2 of them, a positive 5.81 and a negative 5.81. Okay, is equal to x plus 4/3. Oh my goodness. So there's my fraction again. Since I switched this side to a decimal, I can do 4 divided by 3. Okay, so I get 1.33. Okay, Now, what are we looking for? Remember, they're looking for the border, right? You're looking for the x. So I'm going to solve for x. What we were doing in our lessons before. All right, so these are our notes. When we get to that part, we always have two answers, right? Because we're going to have x plus 133 is equal to positive 5.81 and a negative 5.81. All right, so if I want x by itself, technically I'm going to move this to the other side, right? Well, there's two of them. I have a positive 5.81. Think about it this way. And I have a negative 5.81, right? So if I move this to this, I do it twice. I do it to the positive 5.81 and I do it to the negative 5.81. Okay? What am I looking for in the end? I'm looking for the two x's. All right. Solving this. Positive and a negative. Can't do it. I subtract them from each other. So 5.81 minus 1.33. 4.48. 4.48. Positive and negative, the positive is bigger, so I get the sign. So here's my first x. Here's the second x that I'm going to get. Negative and a negative. Oh, negative and a negative stays a negative, and I could actually add them together. So 5.81. Oops, sorry. 5.81. So remember, I'm adding them because they're both negative. Negative 7.12. Oh, sorry, 33. So that's 14. Okay, now I have a positive answer and I have a negative answer. These are my two x's. They're both correct, but since this is a word problem, you're actually looking for an actual side length. So the negative answer will not work. So what you're going to type into your Math Excel would be this, and your answer would be 4.48. Okay?